Hello, thank you for watching my channel today. My name's Sarah and my channel is called Your True Shelf. Today I just thought I'd do a little bit of a catch up because I haven't had like a chat to you guys for a little while, and also I'm going to do my TBR for the month of March. I didn't think it would take me that long to talk about my TBR, so I thought I'd just do a little hello and catch up first. I haven't yet filmed my wrap up for the month of February, but February was quite an intense reading month for me, and I read books almost, with a couple of caveats, exclusively by Black authors, because it was Black History Month in the US and also Blackathon in February. So my TBR, apart from my Dickens book, which I needed to finish, and one short story, everything I read was by Black authors. And I read quite a lot of really traumatic stuff, even though it was wonderful. And I feel like this month I need a little bit more joy, lighter material. So other stuff. So I don't know how much I talk about exercise and stuff on this channel, but I really love running, and I've been running since lockdown because I needed to do some exercise in lockdown. I'd never run before, and I started running completely inspired by Lauren from Lauren in the Books, actually, because she did Catch to 5k, and it made me think, okay, well, I can do Catch to 5k as well. I've never been someone who's been sporty, and I was always a person who didn't do well in sports in school, so I never had confidence when it came to like that sort of thing. And anyway, to cut a long story short, I really enjoyed running, and I'm still building up my confidence, but I was running regularly since that time. And I got injured recently, so one knee, one foot. So I've been to a physio. She's given me like a recovery program, but in the meanwhile I've gotten into cycling because I can't do as much running at the moment while I'm doing some strength training and stuff. So I've been doing some cycling. We're really lucky that a while ago my husband bought us a smart trainer in the garage, which is like where the bike's attached to like a Bluetooth kind of stand which connects with your like Swift app or whatever you're using, and it does different cycling programs for you. So that's been really nice. So I've been doing that as my exercise, and I found that that's been really nice, actually. I've really enjoyed doing that. But I think not being able to run, plus reading a lot of quite heavy books, plus just kind of general life stuff, I've just had a bit of a slump generally over the last few days, and like today I feel a lot better, which is really, really nice. But yeah, it's kind of weird when you don't feel completely well yourself when you're a doctor. It's kind of weird because you try and take control of everything yourself, where if I was non-medical I would maybe talk to a doctor myself, but because I am medical you try and sort of solve all your own problems, which doesn't really help sometimes. But anyhow, I'm feeling a lot better, which is good. And I feel like a combination of things is improving my mood, which I'm really happy about. And the other thing I just wanted to mention, this is not at all sponsored, affiliate, nothing. I just have discovered this company that I just wanted to talk about because I really like it when people share finds that they've found, which are like products that might be nice to try and stuff. So I am a vegan. I think probably you know that there's a lot of vegans and vegetarians on BookTube, which is really nice to see. And I have found a meal prep company called Grubby. So this is kind of like the Gusto type boxes. We always used to use Gusto, and I got a little bit sick of the recipes after a while, so I decided to pause that. I heard about Grubby, and Grubby are a vegan company. They're a B Corp company, and they are, just exclusively vegan, all the recipes. They have loads of delicious recipes to choose from, and I'm just going to insert some pictures of some of the stuff I've cooked because I've been so impressed. I like everything comes in a box, and then we have three meals a week, and everything comes like in a brown paper bag. There's not loads of packaging, and we selected like 2 to 3 people portion size, and that is absolutely plenty for me and my husband and 2 children. But yeah, so I've got a discount code which you just get as a customer. It's not like, say, I'm not linked with them in any way, so I'll post that in the description box. I think it gives people who use the code like the best offers, trial offers, and also I think I get a free meal from it as well, which is really nice. If anyone wants to use the code, I'll pop that in the description box, and that would be lovely. Let's move on to March's TBR, because I've already talked for 6 minutes. There's lots of things going on in March. So the 7th of March is the Women's Prize long list announcement. I always say I'm not going to try and read all the books, and then I try and read all the books. I don't want to go and spend money on books that I wouldn't have bought anyway, because I'm trying to read the books on my shelves. But obviously I'll make use of the library, then an Audible, and there might be some books that I already own potentially on the list, or that I've already read. There's Readathon, which is to read books set in Wales or by Welsh authors. There's the Irish Read-Along, and there is Middle Grade March. So all of those things are happening in March. I'm sure there's other things, but I like all those things, and I can't obviously do all of that at the same time. So I've made like a combination TBR. For Readathon, I didn't think I had any Welsh authors apart from Sarah Waters on my list, but her books are really big and I didn't want to commit to a really big book this month. But then I just watched Heather go into a bit at the library and look in her Welsh section, and she was talking about people with the surname Davies being Welsh, and then I was like, oh, Carys Davies, that sounds very Welsh. Looked it up, she is indeed Welsh. So I have West by Carys Davies, which I bought last year, and bonuses, it's really small. So this is about, so it says Kai Bellman, American settler and widowed father, hears news which fills him with wonder. In the deep swamps of Kentucky, huge ancient bones have been discovered. Leaving his young daughter Bess to fend for herself, Kai sets off to see if there is truth in the rumours that giant monsters are still living, roaming the uncharted territory beyond the Mississippi River. And this actually won 2019 Wales Book of the Year Fiction Award, so that's good. So that's what I'm going to read for Readathon. For the Irish Readathon, so far, books set in Ireland I love, and one of my probably my favourite Irish author so far is probably Colm Tóibín, but I haven't got any of his books on my TBR to read. So I'm going to read Holding by Graham Norton. So I read his first book, I can't think what it's called. I read his first book when it came out and I really enjoyed it, and then I bought this one. I don't know why I haven't read it yet, but I'm really looking forward to this. So this is set in an Irish village called Duneen, which is quite a remote village, and we're following a few members of the community who live a quiet life but who seem to have lots of problems. And there is a body found at a house, and then I think it sort of tears up the community and exposes all the secrets and stuff like that. So so this is his debut. Okay, so the one I read obviously wasn't his first book. This is his debut. I read the one after this, and I think he's had at least one since then. So yeah, this will be one I'm looking forward to. For Middle Grade March, I chose a book that I bought completely based on the cover. I think probably at least a year and a half ago, and it's so beautiful. This is called The Hat Makers by Tamsin Merchant. It's also got really nice end papers, and then the cover. I love how they're children's books, the covers are so much more exciting than adult books. So that's nice. So this is a middle grade book about Cordelia Hatmaker, who comes from a family of magical milliners. And one day her dad goes onto a sea voyage to get more magical supplies for the millinery work that they do, and he doesn't come back. She's determined to find him. She enlists the help of her aunt and uncle, and I think it brings up this rivalry between two magical milliner families. And I believe there might be a sequel to this out now. But yes, that's that one. I then have my book club book, which is a very popular book on BookTube. And I've mentioned this quite recently. This is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. So this is one that lots of people have read already, and it's set in a woman who's in a STEM career in the 1960s, facing lots of sexism and things and difficulties in her career as a woman, and she becomes a TV cook, but I think she uses her science as part of her chef kind of experience, and that's what gives her sort of like a unique selling point. So that's all I want, that's all I know, but that's all I sort of want to know at the moment as well, because I don't want to hear spoilers. But this one is very much recognisable from the cover. Oh, this has got a nice underneath as well. I just thought I'd have a look, seeing as the last one did. The next two I've got are buddy reads. So one is hopefully going to make it onto the Women's Prize long list, because then that will be one that I've read. And this is The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell. I am going to be buddy reading this with lovely Nikki from Red Dot Reads. If you don't subscribe to Nikki already, please do, because she has a wonderful channel. She lives in Singapore. She's from England, and she reads a really good variety of books. She's really good at reviewing books, and she makes great TBR videos every month. And I'd really recommend her channel, which I'll link in the description box in case you don't follow her already. So this is another like really beautiful cover, but me and Nikki were checking our editions, so I thought, well, I'll check how many pages there are, and look what I found at the end of the book. Ripped off. I was like really annoyed. So I got this from Waterstones online. I contacted them, and they are happy to replace or refund the book. So, but I wanted to read it first before I send it back. So, just because I don't want to delay the buddy read, not because I'm being really cheeky. So that's that one. And then the other buddy read I'm doing. So I mention regularly that my friend Jo, who doesn't have a BookTube channel but is very active on BookTube as a commenter, we read a classic together every month. We've got like what I call our magnum opus spreadsheet that we choose from, and I chose for this month from our list Father by Elizabeth von Arnim. I really liked the sound of this one. I've ordered it from the library. I was so tempted to buy it because the cover, I'll insert a picture, is absolutely beautiful, but I'm not going to buy it unless I really love the book, just because, you know, saving pennies and all that stuff. This book is about a young woman who has dedicated many years of her life to looking after her father. So she's been single, she's not moved out, she's not had her own family. She's just dedicated her life to her dad. And then her dad marries a woman who I think is a lot younger than him, at 33. And then this just gives our protagonist, whose name I can't remember, it gives her freedom, and she can basically go and start living a life she wanted. And I think it's a trickier to be a single woman back in those times when this was written. And so I'm really looking forward to this. I think this sounds like a really nice book. And yeah, I'd never heard of Elizabeth von Arnim until Jo put her on our spreadsheet. So that would be a really interesting one. I feel like saying them all out loud, I've gone way too ambitious, but I feel like it's nice to have the books selected that you pick from, even if I don't read all of these books, because realistically I'm probably not going to read all of these books. It's just nice to have a little pile that I'm choosing from. Yeah, so I am going a tad overboard, but it doesn't matter. We've all got eyes bigger than our belly when it comes to BookTube, haven't we? So I have two more to mention, and then I'm going to do a TBR jar pick, which I haven't done for a really long time. So one I ordered from the library because I've seen people love this book, and Jen Campbell loves this book. And this is Elena Knows by Claudio Pinero, translated by Francis Riddle. And all I know about this book is from what I remember Jen saying. This is about a woman who has Parkinson's, and her daughter is found hanging, I believe. In the belfry of the church, and her mother will not believe that her daughter committed suicide, so she decides to actually try and investigate what happened herself. And it takes place just over one day. It's in Buenos Aires, and I think that Jen said it's there's some timing around her Parkinson's meds as well, because if you have Parkinson's, the medication is usually about every 3 hours, so it's quite, and you have to be quite regimented with when you take your Parkinson's meds, otherwise your symptoms will start to come on if you don't take them in time and stuff. So I think that plays a part in the book, like her chronic illness as well, which would be really interesting. Then the final thing that I want to mention, so the Dickens book for the Dickens read along this month, which I will listen to on audio, is The Old Curiosity Shop. And this is narrated by Jessie Buckley. And I'm really excited by that because all of the 3 books I've read for the Dickens read along so far have been narrated by men. And it's really nice to have one narrated by a woman, because sometimes when the men do the women's voices, especially how Dickens writes women is kind of quite pathetic and fainty a lot of the time, and they do these really kind of squeaky, annoying voices for the women. So I'm really looking forward to having a woman read a Dickens book. That will be really nice. So the other thing I forgot to mention is I actually am finishing off 2 books at the moment. So for our book club, which is in 2 days' time, I have to finish Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. And I also paused Full Disclosure by Camryn Garrett whilst I started my last buddy read with Joe. So we're just going to finish those 2 books before I start these ones. I'm just going to do my TBR jar pick, because this is my TBR jar. It's an old jelly beans jar. All these little slips of paper are books, and I haven't added to this for ages. So these are kind of a bit vet books. I'm a bit scared to pick something out of here in case it makes me like, ooh. But then if it makes me feel like that, then it probably shouldn't be on my TBR. So let's do this. I think this one should be one that I'd probably commit to reading, unless it's absolutely massive. Right, let me have a look. Let me have a little rummage around. Okay, I've got one. I'm nervous. It is. Okay, this one does make me go a little bit. But this one I've only got because one of my friends said it was amazing. So this book, I'll just pick it up off my shelf. This book, The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Helen Morris. So this is a book that I got secondhand. Everybody has read this book, and I am just a little bit reticent about Holocaust books that are sort of in the really popular fiction, because I want to make sure that I feel ethically comfortable with the book, that it's not making the Holocaust any less serious than it should be, or profiteering from it, if that makes sense. So I'm not trying to judge Helen Morris at all, because I don't actually know how I feel about it yet. Let's read the blurb, because I don't actually know much about this book. In 1942, Leo Sokolov arrived in Auschwitz-Birkenau. He was given the job of tattooing the prisoners marked for survival, scratching numbers into his fellow victims' arms in indelible ink to create what would become one of the most potent symbols of the Holocaust. Waiting in line to be tattooed, terrified and shaking, was a young girl. For Leo, a dandy Jack the Lad, a bit of a chance that it was love at first sight, and he was determined not only to survive himself, but to ensure this woman Gita did too. So begins one of the most life-affirming, courageous, unforgettable and human stories of the Holocaust, the love story of the tattooist of Auschwitz. Okay, well, it sounds good. It doesn't sound like it fits with my theme of lighter and happier reading, but the font is quite big and quite well spaced, so I don't think it will take ages to read. Actually, it's based on a true story, so I can take back what I said before, because this is a true story. So it's actually it's not, telling a story about Auschwitz that didn't actually happen, or that couldn't have happened. So okay, so that is my massive TBR for March. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Women's Prize long list is, and I will try and make a video that day with my reaction, because I did that last year and I really enjoyed it. It depends what time of day it's announced as to how quickly I can make the video. I'm going to stop talking now, because I've been talking for 22 minutes. But if you've read any of the books on my TBR, please let me know what you thought about them. And Tell me what you're reading at the moment. Tell me any news that you might have. And don't forget, if you fancy trying grubby meal prep boxes, then I will leave a link to the discount code that I have in the description box down below. Anyway, have a lovely week and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.